Okay, we go from that storyline to the next storyline involving the basket case on the roster. I'm talking about Kyrie Irving. History writes Kyrie Irving feuded with everybody in Cleveland and got himself traded because he couldn't get along with LeBron James. He goes to Boston. He's supposed to be the final piece of the puzzle that's going to lead the Celtics to great things. And he, quote, has mental health issues and takes time off. And Boston gets rid of him. He goes to Brooklyn. And now you get him in Brooklyn. And last year he refused to get the vaccine when it was mandated by the state of New York. You can't practice nor you can play if you are not vaxxed. And he went on this public tirade. I'm not putting that stuff in my body, even though he had no knowledge of what the vaccine was all about at the height. He wound up missing 52 games, cost himself $21 million. Finally, as COVID settled down and they changed the vaccination laws in the state of New York, he was allowed to come back and play road games. Could not play at home, could not go to Canada because Canada had different entry laws to get into the country if you're vaxxed versus not vaxxed. So they had all that last year, and now this week, with social media and all the hate and everything that is on and the political unrest in our country, he has 4.6 million followers on all of his social platforms, including Instagram, etc. He tweets out about this anti-Semitic movie that's out there. The movie is entitled From Hebrews to Negroes. Very controversial, very, very much off the mark, blaming the Jewish faith for the problems of America. Well, he tweets on that, saying this is where you can go check out the movie. He also tweets contact with speeches made by the very controversial Alex Jones, who's involved in all these lawsuits about child killings, etc., has lost $1 billion in 3 different pieces of litigation. He tweets to all his followers, in essence, sample this. Holy cow. Now you got everybody up in arms. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver today has ordered him to a hearing next week. The owner, Joseph Tsai, the San Diegan, has condemned him, yet he's still on the roster. The NBA Players Association condemned all things that might be anti-Semitic, but never mentioned his name and has never stepped in to say we need to take action. The Anti-Defamation League lawyers went to the league office and demanded he be removed. On top of that, now the reaction from players, or should I say retired players. Reggie Miller, very popular NBA guard who's now on TNT as an analyst, stood up and went public the other night on television and said, how come none of you NBA active players who've taken strong public stances about black brutality, about George Floyd, the death and riots, you're always taking strong stances, Colin Kaepernick, how come not one NBA player, active player, has made any reference to that guy and what he did? And then Shaquille O'Neal last night popped off, called him an idiot. Charles Barkley, who's got opinions on everything, most of them off the wall. Charles Barkley went public and said this man should be suspended. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar today called for all fans and NBA players to boycott the products that Kyrie Irving has endorsed. He has not been disciplined yet. I think he's got to be disciplined. And to top it all off, he's in denial that he did anything wrong. Kyrie Irving stands up, John, and says, First Amendment rights to free speech. Well, what are you freely speaking about? Anti-Semitism, blaming Jews. Holy cow. And this is the guy that held a press conference last year and said, I've studied this. Did you know that the world is flat? The earth is flat. This is a guy who's got this other history with vaccines and personality conflicts, etc. It's just an ugly story. And the big question is, what is going to happen? Can Adam Stern suspend him for conduct detrimental to the league? I think they can. The fact that the union already announced and condemned anti-Semitism but didn't take action against him, is the union going to stand up and appeal any suspension if Kyrie Irving gets suspended by the league? What does Jersey do? Does Joseph Tsai, who's been a stand-up guy, stand up and suspend this guy for conduct detrimental to the league? Somebody's got to do something. He can't walk free, I don't think. Your reaction?
Yeah, Shaq is right. He is an idiot. And, because he buys into all these goofy conspiracy theories. And by, in the case of the COVID vaccine, it cost him $21 million. I mean, which is just ridiculous. And yeah, you brought it up. He thought the earth was flat. And he came out, said that, and he had to later apologize. So he's made so many of these PR gaffes that it's damaging to the brand of the NBA. And the NBA, to their credit, took really strong action, strong messages around, all the controversy that went down in 2020 with the George Floyd protests and Black Lives Matter. If you're going to stand against hate, if you're going to stand against discrimination, if you're going to stand for, being a league that brings people together, you have to condemn these kinds of actions by Kyrie. I hope the commissioner takes a strong stance. And oh, by the way, free speech, that the NBA can crush you for speaking your mind. The free speech is about the government, telling you what you can say or not. Free speech doesn't apply in this case.
Are you stunned not one active NBA player would step up and sound off about this?
Yeah, it is. It's disappointing. Maybe they're scared to make a controversial stance. I don't know. But to your point, they were so brave and so strong-minded, strong-willed when it came to the controversy in the summer of 2020, rightfully so. This is just being consistent and stepping up, in this case, to call out hate.
This story is not over. Trust me on that.